All right, and once again, that never gets old. Safety Struck, Music Man, Mike, a production to show the intenseness behind safety, right? To show how strong we feel about safety here at BCB Live. It's be safe, communicate, and if you can, be on time. There's nothing more important than safety. And as we begin this show, we're on the very last week of what has been known as Distracted Driving Awareness Month. And have we made a difference? It was the big question that we had. Have we really gone out there and made a difference to you? Have you made a difference to other drivers out there? Those are the big questions that, that only, I think we see that in the results. When we find out in another 2 or 3 weeks, how many people died in this month? How many people died from that cell phone? How many people died because, picking up that phone, texting, was more important than focusing on what you're doing? Has it changed at all? Have you really, honestly, have you changed your habits? And the habits that I'm speaking of, have you began to notice when you grab that phone? Have you began to notice that initial distraction of when you are getting unfocused at your job? We've seen so many videos, and I'm going to show another one here with Corey, an interview with No Cell Technologies. No Cell Technologies is technology out there that's designed to help you stay off that phone, to help you put that distraction away for a second. No Cell Technologies, I love their product, really stand behind what they do out there as they begin to work with, even the normal insurance, the four-wheelers out there. We all need a little help. My challenge for you as we end this week, as we end the National Distracted Driving Awareness Month, is for you to recognize when it's time for you to make that change. It's Drive Safe Dave and I, we spoke about that. It's not the point that we're going to tell you never pick up that phone. Obviously, we're not supposed to. But if you can reduce that, right? Start with reducing it. Start with recognizing when you're distracted and start when you pick up the phone up and put it back down. Think for a second. Think about how many close calls you've had. We spoke with some drivers this weekend that at a mini conference, call it. And you know what was neat? How many of those folks came up and said what a difference watching this show has made to them. What a difference talking about this has made in their life. And for you that maybe this is your first time watching it, listen, miracles can't happen the first time. But by watching this show, I'm going to tell you something. We're going to remind you to be safe. We're going to remind you about that following distance. We see all these things, and we're going to show them again here with either Buckle Up Bob or Dale as they show the videos. We're going to see great habits. We're going to see mistakes that we make. And just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you're a bad driver. Just because you make a mistake, you know what? Get back into the thing, get focused, refocus yourself for the job at hand. The skill level that each and every one of you have as a Class A CDL holder, there's nothing like it. In baseball, if they bat over a 300, that's 1 out of every 3 attempts. 3 at bats, you get 1 hit. You're going to the Hall of Fame. And yet you've been unsuccessful over 600% of the time. 670, 700% of the time, you've been unsuccessful. Imagine if that was you out there on the road, if you were unsuccessful, not at your top of your level 70% of the time. What would happen? You're doing it. And all we do when we want you to watch these videos, when we talk to you about these things, is to make you just a little bit better. Make you more self-aware of how you're doing. Don't get offended. Sometimes we do get folks saying, man, you guys are coming down on us. It's not us. What about the four-wheelers out there? All right, here we go. What about them? Let's worry about us right now. Okay? I'm talking to you, the Class A drivers. We've got to take care of our image. We got to do our part first. We're going to talk to those guys over there, right? Those four-wheelers, the clowns over there that don't have that same license that you have. But let's face it, they don't have the same experience you have. And we have got to be the kings of the road, the kings and the queens of that highway, of the roadway. We've got to continue to expect that unexpected. Folks, we've got to make a better difference than we are today. Well, yes, you'd be satisfied. Maybe many of you have done so well, but we all can make that improvement. As we enter into this last week, I'm going to ask you to focus like you've never done before on recognizing that distraction. Whether it's that cell phone, whether it's that phone call, whether it's that text message, whether it's that voice in your head that says, you know what, I just need to get off the road. I'm not the safest person I can be right now. That's what I'm talking about as well. I want us just to continue our fight in this industry. You know what? I'm sick and tired of those attorneys out there seeing those commercials, seeing those billboards. Let's give them a reason to take them down and go pick on somebody else. We can do it. You can do it. I can do it. All we have to do is, number one, recognize that distraction. Number two, act upon it. Act upon when you find yourself in that situation, when there's cars around you, there's traffic like you've never seen before, and you have to realize that the only thing you need to do right now is slow down. Slow down, speed and space. That is a cure for so much. Fog, slow down. Rain, slow down. Snow, slow down. Traffic, slow down. Your speed and space. I want you to focus on that this week. I want you to focus on when you're just angry, when you're pissed off, when that car, when that truck, when they pull in front of you, and then they do that brake check for you. I want you to slow it down even more. Maybe even get off that next exit to let them keep going. I want you to work on that forgiveness. And when I say that, I mean, let it go. There's nothing you can do. We're going to watch a video a little bit later about something like that. And when we don't know really what the whole story was, right? But give you an example. This is what y'all face all the time right here. What happened earlier? I don't know. But when we see this car brake check you, you try to go around them, they cut you off. There's a story back here further on. What happened behind you? And maybe it was nothing. Maybe this person's just trying to get you to hit them. I don't know. But you know what? Let's just back it off, create that space, realize there's nothing to be mad about anymore. Let it go, whatever it was. Maybe you cut them off. Maybe they cut you. Maybe this isn't Louisiana. They're just trying to get hit. We've seen it happen. What you have to do is recognize that you're being set up, recognize that you're being tempted, whatever that is you want to call it, and back off. Back off and exit. Go get you that is Drive Safe Days, that Pepsi and a hot dog. Get off that road and go do something. Find a way around this situation right here. Boy, it's bad. It's dangerous, and we want nothing to do with it. We're going to go to Corey. Before we do that, Corey, we'll say it brought to you, as we continue by Utility Pro, as we continue to focus on this part right here, being seen. We have an opportunity every day, again, to be seen, to stand out a little bit more. We ask you to stand out in how you drive, but you know what? Stand out there when you're in that parking lot. Daylight, nighttime, it doesn't matter. You've got to be seen. And what better product than this from Utility Pro? And don't forget, you go to utilitypro.com and type in BCB20. You get a 20% discount on Utility Pro.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear affords the wearer durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Vegas to go to the CES show. And on the way, my intern was in the car and we counted 73 drivers of commercial vehicles that were on their phone in a 3.5 hour span. So, I mean, it is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you real quick, Corey, what kind of success have you seen as far as in the numbers when you put your thing into action, right? Like, you know, you got numbers prior and then you got numbers after. What are you looking at? What kind of success are you seeing?
The success right off the bat is the phone handling alerts go down just over 70% after 10 days of use. So the drivers are training themselves that they can't get to the app, so they stop reaching for the phone. They stop picking up that phone and touching it. We're still working on our case studies for year over year. It was a little bit skew last year with the drivers on the road, but they took their COVID couch habits with them for the phone. So they were touching the phone 88 times an hour during COVID, and they brought that into the cab with them. So
Yes,
we're trying to work against that.
You know, and some numbers that I would say on that same thing, Corey, I'd be curious on, and I know it's a later on thing, but if you take the, you know, from a fleet out there today, from a safety perspective, I'd be curious from that fleet if once they implemented the no-cell technologies, how many following too close alerts? How did they go down? How did the the driving too fast go down? How did the the erratic driving? How did all of that also change when they had your technology implemented?
Yeah, I don't have those numbers with. That's part of the case study. But the next time I'm on the show, probably be in your studio next time, and we'll share those the results of those. That's a great question, and it would. I'm guessing that they'll go down dramatically. The emergency braking or the swerving or the hard accelerating, all those things will change because they're not looking at that phone and then coming up on people.
Yeah, and that's drive safe. When we think about that part, that's the safety directors that are out there working for them companies. Those are the folks that are going to see all of a sudden maybe their jobs are getting a little easier. Maybe the drivers in their mind all of a sudden are getting better, and I don't mean they're better, but they're just less distracted because, Corey, when we talk about the cell phones, we talk about the distractions, we talk about all of that, the habit of picking up the phone. I mean, man, it is real and it is dangerous out there for a four-wheeler or for these big trucks.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're in the big trucks or if they're a pharmaceutical rep or if they're they're just in a regular sedan. Anytime you look down at the cell phone, you take your eyes off the road and you've covered distance that you can't account for. And there's so many things that can happen in just looking down for that brief moment, 4 seconds or whatever, and you've already covered 90 yards. So
I have a question for you.
Cowboys last week, but.
Hey, Corey, if you get a chance, when you let us know how the reaction is of the drivers once you've implemented this and they start to relearn how to work. What's kind of some of your feedback you're getting from the drivers' perspectives that you're dealing with on a regular basis? Because that ultimately that's who you're giving it to. I'd like to know how their reaction is after they learn it and after they start using it.
So it's a great question. So the drivers that we're working with directly, at first, there's a lot of pushback, but as soon as they get it in the cab and they have it for 2 weeks or so, and they realize that there's no buzzes, beeps, or dings to distract them, the drivers that I've talked to have loved it, have sold it internally, and they were like, it's so much less stress in the cab because you basically remove the slot machine from the cab with all the noises and the buzzes and all the alerts. So they have a lot less stress in the cab. They have enough stuff going on with all the other technology that they're loving it. That it's not as a distraction with the phone.
Yeah, I know that's super great that it's taken away from that stress, of knowing that you got to reach over there and touch it, or you got to reach over there and you just got to let it go, right? And I think that's great. It's really interesting, especially when you say they're selling it, right? You're saying that the drivers are selling it. And that's really, I think, ultimately what's got to happen here, right? Ultimately, the end user has to be the one that goes, you know what? Not only do I need this, I need everybody to need it.
Right. And I think what happens in the drivers that we've talked to is when they don't have the distraction of the phone, they start seeing that there's other drivers on the road that are distracted. So they start seeing all the different swerves and hard brakes and all that stuff because of the phone. You go by somebody and they're all of a sudden they're jamming on the brakes. And you look over and they're on their phone. You see the phone just going down, or it is a huge distraction.
I was just gonna, and I know you've got some things about it, but and I was looking at some of the technology. Does it? I know you can add and subtract, and you can tell. Does that limit the hands-free driving use of the phone or not?
I mean, it's in compliance. I mean, it's really for the companies to enforce their cell phone policy, right? So if they say, hey, you're hands-free, just like FMCSA, hands-free one touch, this will make sure that the companies are in compliance, the drivers are compliant with that cell phone policy.
Hey, Corey, on the website, you talk about, I think it's on one of your videos as well, the seamless with the in-cab telematics and the cameras. What is that? When you say that works seamless with that, what are you referring to on that?
Our solution is a self-contained, self-powered solution. So it doesn't plug into the ODB2 port. It's not hardwired. So it doesn't conflict with any other technology that's in the vehicle whatsoever. Any of your inward, outward facing cameras, the ELD, telematics, GPS, this plays well with others the entire time.
Gotcha. Hey, Corey, I do have a question for you here. So, and I've had that question asked me before when it comes to certain subjects, but for you, hey, why this? I mean, you could do anything you wanted to right now. You can go out and sell anything. Hey, why sell no sell and distracted driving? Is it personal to you? What is your why for going out and selling this technology?
Well, I mean, it's the story behind the company. Let me just fill that in first. Is the owner of the company has 7 kids. And when his 2 oldest kids were in high school, there was a horrific texting and driving accident. And he's like, nope, this is going to end with me. This is going to be my passion. And we're going to solve distracted driving. After I met him and heard his story, and then I started talking to different companies out there, every single company, whether it's the big rigs or it's a pharmaceutical company or whatever, every single company has a horrific story about, hey, this driver was the best driver we ever had, and all of a sudden he looked down for 1 second and he T-boned a minivan or something like that. So I just got tired of the horrific stories, and to work for a company that has the passion to save lives and potentially save lives every single day. I mean, you can't get any better than that. Build a company, and we want to get these drivers home every single night. I mean, our motto is we get up early, obviously, for a 5 a.m. call. To make sure that the drivers get home safe every night. I mean, it's the best of both worlds for us.
And I love that. I love that passion behind that. It's that same passion that drives us to the BCB Live. It's about saving lives. Corey, for companies out there that have 2, 3, 1,000 trucks, 10 trucks, and do you have a, if just try it out, can they start it out with just a sampling 3, 4, 20 units, or is it like an all or none?
No, you call me up, or you contact the office. We've got a pilot program. We'll walk you through the install and get you going. You try it for 15 days so that you can understand the technology. Doesn't cost you a thing. We send out a 4-pack of no-cell tags, get you up and running, and then we want you to try it. We are flexible. We are all about getting installs, because every install we get is potentially saving a life of that driver, of that the general public going to work at whatever o'clock in the morning, so that they don't get hit, they don't get crushed because of a driver that's on their phone.
Wow, BCB Live, I can tell you we're looking for a company like you to get behind and really push, because we need help in saving lives out there. Corey, we talk about the hashtag in the street Texas, and it's not just the truck, it's the cars, it's the vehicles. When you have gone over 21 years now with a fatality on a Texas road, we've got to do something to change. It's not going to happen on its own. I'm going to tell you this right now. I will get on the phone. We're done with this. We'll take 5 at least. We're going to jump in, and we're going to get firsthand opportunity with 5 of our listeners right now. Put us down for that, because I want to see it work. I want to understand it and drive safe, Dave. I want to make a difference like No Cell Technologies is in making a difference against distracted driving.
We have a chance here to put it right where it is. And if we implement it here, we implement it in a way with one of our listeners to make a difference, we can change it right now. And I truly believe what you're doing is going to make a difference in the long term. I'm curious, do you have not just fleet applications? Do you have individual applications?
For the independent contractor,
yeah,
right?
For the independent contractor who just has one truck, right, that wants to do something like that himself.
I love that. We'll do one truck, no problem. All we want to do is save one more life every single day. We want to get installs every single day. If it's an independent guy, owner operator, and he wants to put it in his truck, great. We'll send one out. We'll get him set up. It's going to cost them, a cup of coffee a month or whatever. I mean, it's not cost prohibitive, but it sure can make a difference. That's what I've learned.
All right. So if you're a listener right now out there on BCB Live, raise your hand, put something to the producer. Let me know that you're all in. And you know what? We're going to work with you on this together. We're going to get that technology to you, because your life is worth it today. We want you to spread that news as well about No Cell Technologies. Producer, you got a question?
Well, we do have a comment here from Alan Arnold saying that he'll volunteer and he'll come in for it.
Bam!
There you go. You already got.
There you go, right there.
Man.
We got
it.
Alan's in, Alan's on, and Alan's getting one of the no-cell devices put in his truck to see how it works. We're going to get some feedback. We're going to get this done. We're going to offer, and we're going to come back to you, and we're going to look at some of the things that you're talking about, that we've talked about on the show today. What a great opportunity to spread the word, get it out, and we're going to have you back on with more info.
For sure. Hey, Corey, we're running out of time. I want you to go ahead and close it out with anything else you want us to know, and then you've got to close it out with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Corey, talk to us.
You know what? One install at a time. We're trying to save lives one install at a time. BCB Live, man. We are the safest station in the nation.
Bam!
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear affords the wearer durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
All right, you heard that right there. You heard a little bit about No Cell Technologies. And I wonder, because we ordered 4 or 5 of those. And here's the question, maybe we ordered 10. How many of those are in place right now? How many of those have been implemented, with those drivers to see how it works? I'm going to reach out to those folks and, number one, see how it's going with them. And here it is. And honest to God, the curious part is is, did they even get them? Did they get them turned on? Did they get frustrated? Maybe at the install, never took full advantage of it. Because with technology comes comes change. With technology means that we have to learn something. Means that we have to change something. Maybe we have to upgrade our own technology. A new cell phone, something that can help us out. It requires action. You can have all the technology you want. You know what? We talk a lot about some of the cameras out there as well, the Naturdynes, the Samsara units that are out there, what they capture, how they capture it, and then give you that scorecard. The scorecard is essential. And yet there's so many other scorecards out there as well that are set up to make you a safer driver. The company, the trucking company, the independent contractor. What are you doing though to take that and make the change with it? To actually do what it's supposed to do. You know what? I heard people talking about the cell phones when you're driving. It comes up that you're driving and it doesn't do all that it can if you weren't driving. But you can push the button that says, "Okay, I'm not driving," and then all of a sudden your phone's working just like it was before. So with that technology, there's a way out of it. With technology, it means that you still have to use it. How many of you have cameras out there right now that aren't even working? That you haven't thought anything about it. It requires action. Distracted driving requires action. It requires us to actually do something. And it doesn't mean that we have to go from I use my phone to I'm never using it again. Ultimately, we would love that. But it can also go to that point that says I'm using my phone, something in my brain triggers that this is unsafe, and I put that phone down. I act upon when I realize what's going on. That's why we talk about these things so many times. We talk about it because we've got to continue hearing it and being reminded so we remember that. Today, coming into work, I had a stale green light that, telling you, there is no if, ands, or but. I could have made that sucker today in my car. It wasn't that close. However, because I hear that word, I hear the message, I acted upon it, and I didn't put myself or someone else in danger, in grave danger? Grave danger is the other kind. What movie is that from? But I didn't put myself into danger, grave danger, or anyone else in that intersection. Folks, all of these things that we do, that we talk about, they're real. We're going to have Buck. We're going to have a Dale, Double Check Dale coming on. We're going to talk weather. We're going to show videos again. And we're going to just continue to talk through this because we have a long way to go. None of us are perfect. Realize it. And again, Rick, quit saying act. I'm going to tell you to act upon it. When you find yourself unsafe, it requires action. Pulling off the road. Making a phone call after you pull off the road to maybe your loved one. Don't talk to them and don't argue with your spouse while you're driving with your son. I mean, get it. Your daughter, your kids, they can just piss you off. And sometimes when you're talking to them, driving's the last thing you need to do. Get off the roadway. Tell that kid, I'm going to call you back and you better be ready. But don't do it while you're driving. Focus on that. Focus on all that you can to continue to make our industry. And again, I'm telling you, our industry. You're a trucker out there. You're part of what we do. We've got to continue our part into making the roadways safe. We'll be back in about 60 seconds. We have Dale Kellen, Double Check Dale, also known as, coming up next. Again, we're going to get another sponsorship out there to Utility Pro. Want to remind you, you've got to be seen. Daylight, rainy like it is right now. If it's raining where you are, you've got to be seen. Make sure you are acting safe all the time. In the truck, out of the truck. It's all about safety here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear affords the wearer Durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount. This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high quality, ANSI certified, high visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Double Check Dale here. We're going to talk a little bit of weather here. Folks, finally a little bit of reprieve from the winds that we have been seeing. This is current conditions right now. The major winds are still up in the upper Midwest. Let's get some wind gusts going on in there. Accumulation, there we go. And so we're seeing, the upper winds there. Some winds in central Texas as we move throughout the day. We do see the winds intensify. Again, it's still up in Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, southern Minnesota. And then central Texas is going to pick some winds up, some stronger winds this afternoon. But nothing like we've been seeing along the front range of the mountains in New Mexico and Colorado. Still some winds. And then the higher elevations in Arizona, we're still seeing some winds. But it's kind of nice. We look at the overnight hours and the winds really die down. We don't see any of those reds or oranges in the overnight hours. So that's a good thing. And then looking at tomorrow, the winds are starting to pick back up, come back a little bit more with a vengeance. It's going to be western Kansas, eastern Colorado tomorrow. Again, Nebraska, North Platte has just been windy for the last couple of weeks. And so we do have some winds coming up there. Major topic for today is there are some rain and thunderstorms going on out there. This is current right now. When you see the red and the lightning bolts, that's where your heavier storms are and your more dangerous storms are. And they're stretching all the way down from, the Mexico-Texas border all the way up through Arkansas, southern Illinois and Indiana. But the major storms right now are in central Texas. That red means, there's a chance of some localized heavy rain, localized flooding. So you always have to be aware of that. The winds will definitely intensify in those type of storms. You're going to see some strong gusts. So if you see or know you're coming into some strong thunderstorms, drivers, hey, you may want to pull it over and park it and wait it out. Most of these are not long events, an hour maybe at the most, and they are moving away. But as the day goes on, we're seeing the storms shifting over to the east. This is this afternoon at 2 o'clock. It's up through the Ohio River Valley, touching into Pennsylvania, up into New York. But south of Dallas, Waco area, still getting some heavy thunderstorms this afternoon. And then northern Louisiana still going on. We go all the way to tomorrow. The rain really dies down. The heavier thunderstorms really die down for tomorrow. Just a little bit going up through the West Virginia, Pennsylvania. Southern Texas still has some rain and thunderstorms going on tomorrow. But overall, really pretty nice couple days coming up, and temperatures are going to be pretty mild today. With that, we'll take a short break and come back and talk some safety.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, safest station in the nation. Hey, we're going to talk a little bit of safety. We're talking about distracted driving, Rick, and this morning on the way into work. I leave work, get out on the highway, the phone rings. My first thing is I'm going to reach over and touch it. I go, nope, I can wait till I get to work.
Good job, sir. That was me calling you, just putting a test on you.
And I know we have a lot going on. We have some changeovers with the logging systems and everything, and I know some drivers may have trouble, and I'm thinking, I want to help them out. But then I thought, nope, that's not the right thing. They can wait 5 minutes. I'll give them a call when I got to the office. And you're right. It is tough because you have to train yourself. And so step one this morning. So we'll keep working on it.
You know what? I just want to keep saying that because, Dale, none of us, we're not going to be perfect about anything.
No.
Just like our lives. We're not perfect every single day. We're not perfect at all throughout the day. Heck, we probably can't go an hour as humans without being wrong. You call it a sin, you call it doing wrong. It doesn't matter. However, I just think it's important once we recognize it. Yep. We just at that point we got to stop. We want to stop it and get back and put that phone, put that whatever that distraction is away. Put that thing in your life away. And I think once we can get to that point, Dale, think about how much safer we are going to be.
Oh, without a doubt. It just got to get that habit out of my head. It just, it can wait. It can wait. When I drove, there were no cell phones when I started driving. And so I had to know where every payphone along the route was, and you had to stop it so you didn't have that distraction. And you know what? We made all our loads. We got everything done. And so it can happen if you put that phone down. Tough thing to do sometimes, but we'll work on it. We'll break that bad habit. Hey, this week we're going to talk about accident reporting. Hopefully you guys never, any professional drivers never have to use it, but we know that's not reality. So just want to make sure that you know what your company policies are as far as accident reporting are. The tip for the day is, report all accidents, no matter how big or small. Sometimes you think, oh, it's the smallest accident in the world and nothing will come of it. And sometimes those turn out to be some of the biggest ones where the attorney gets a hold of it and now all of a sudden you have whiplash or whatever else. So just remember, report all accidents, even if it's only a scratch. That way there's a record of it, there's documentation of it. So when the next driver picks that trailer up or truck or whatever it may be, and they say, hey, there's a scratch on this, it's already reported so it doesn't get, charged back to you. So, secure the scene, if you're in an accident, multiple vehicle, whatever, secure the scene, get your triangles out, and if medical attention's needed or officers, make sure you call that 911 and get some enforcement and some help out there.
Yeah, Dale, when it comes to that reporting the accident, I want everybody to think of anytime you do anything, you back into anything, consider that an accident. Even if it's a fence, even if it's just a pole, it doesn't matter. It's an accident. Call that in, because if you don't call it in, Dale, let's just talk about that. The longer you don't, if you hit the bumper of a car, right, and you don't call that in right away, well, in a week, when somebody decides to call that in from the other side, there was 3 or 4 people in the car. They were all hurt, their backs, their necks, and all of that. The timeliness of accident reporting is critical to each and every company out there, even the independent contractor. You've got to know somewhere, you've got to have, Dale, and I'm going to say this, somewhere in that permit book, they've got to have something to do, because when you get into that accident, when it does happen, your fault or not, you kind of get all excited. You need that little checklist to make sure that you get everything done.
Yep, and that's one of the great things when you call it in. Your DM, your safety manager, whoever you're talking to will be, the voice of reason, the voice of calm, because they're not involved with it, so they'll go through that checklist, make sure we're getting everything off. Rick, you bring up such a great point, no matter whether it's a fence or a little bumper. I can remember an incident where, driver backed in, hit a fence, took one pole out, but when I got it from the other side, man, we backed over 100-foot of fence. And they want 100-foot of fence and the gate replaced. All we did was tag the post. And so, it's so important to get that out there, get your story out there, get your side of it told. So when the other side calls, we have that information available to say, hey, that's a little bit different than what we heard from the other side. So, just call it in, no matter how big or small it is. Worst case, if nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. And so just call it in, let somebody know about it so we can get all the steps taken, get the information recorded.
Yeah, and pictures are critical throughout that whole process.
Yeah.
And for many different reasons, the pictures are important, especially when it comes to property damage. Because sometimes you'll see that pole, Dale, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I can tell you I've seen it many times, that pole that had to have been fixed 500 times and probably never got fixed, right? Just send us in $850 and we'll get that pole fixed. And that pole was broke before. It was already bent over. It's been hit 3 times a week. Again, we can see all that with the right pictures, the right angles, all of that. Again, that's the critical part about having a checklist, calling that in, and listening to that voice of reason. And Dale, you're the voice of reason behind the scenes because you are a little bit more calm. You have that sheet in front of you. You're ready to talk them through this and help them out, right?
That's correct. And again, back to the pictures. Pictures tell a story, and so what you want to do with that, with your pictures, is tell that story. Tell it from a different angle. Tell it from the other perspective. What was going on? Road conditions, road signs, lighting, anything that has an effect on it. You want to make sure you take pictures of that. Like Rick said, if it's a pole that's bent over or whatever, take pictures, lots of pictures of it, because sometimes you may have touched that pole and it may have been way bent over before you got to it, and there's going to be 1,000 different scuff marks on it. So just take those pictures, let the pictures tell a story.
Yes, sir. Hey, Dale, we're going to go into some videos, and we're going to start in the first one. And then this is one that's kind of titled, "In a Second, Things Change for These People." And there was an accident up ahead, Dale, and here we go.
Yeah, I mean, nobody starts their day out. I can't think anybody starts a day out or a night out or their shift out saying, hey, I'm going to have an accident. And that's what's happened here. I really don't know what caused the accident, but just gets that mindset to think, it's important to do all the right things. That speed, that space management. Don't drive distracted, because something happened here that caused this. Don't let that happen to you. And so just kind of a little bit of a reminder as we start this week out.
Yeah, and another thing when you see this too is obviously we want to make sure we have enough room to get out of the way. The speed on this one, way to drive as slow as you can to make sure you pass the car that's been in the accident safely on this. And Dale, you can just see that, boy, just not a lot of room right there. No. as we go to the left here, going into the the other lane right there, right? Yeah. For the emergency lane. But you can see we had to slow down first. That's speed, folks. And let me tell you, speed is critical. You don't want to be flying through this area with people, with a vehicle, anything like this, in the right lane.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens. So people are, they got some anxiety going on. They're frustrated, whatever, and they're not always paying attention to what's going on. So many times we see it where they, step out in front of it or may not be paying attention and then make matters worse. And so, speed going through an accident zone like this is so important.
Wow. All right. We got another one here where it looks like we're coming to a stop, Dale, but others refuse to do it.
Yep. I mean, we got to celebrate. I love showing a video like this where the driver takes this video and shows that he stopped, and then we watch others around us, and that light's red right there, and, that one goes through, and then another one.
Wow.
We see it every day.
Look how busy this intersection is right now. How unsafe these folks are driving right here. Great job, from this driver. And I know, Dad, you got to say, boy, I don't want to miss this light. But they recognize that I've got to stop. I've got to be that leader. I stop. And these four-wheelers, it's just craziness, them going through it. And they're not yellow. These are red lights they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, if that white vehicle with that trailer stops, the one behind them doesn't get the opportunity to go through either. I mean, it's just like leading them right through there. They've got to make those right choices, got to stop. So proud of the driver in this one.
Yes, and again, we talk about these intersections right here, and I'm going to pause it right here because if a car is trying to time this light right, we got two lights. We have a truck to our left running the turn line, turning left. We have the white truck to the right of us passing with a lawnmower. Got to go get that lawn mowed, and it lights red. If somebody is timing this going the other way, they're going to hit them, and then it gets worse, right? I mean, we've almost cleared the intersection. Certainly I can go ahead and go now, and then look right here.
Yeah. Just unbelievable. It just leads them right out there. And like I said, if the first one stops, the second one has to, and that's what's so great about the driver in this one. He stopped. Nobody else is going to go through that light behind him. So
wow. Okay, we got another one here, and we're bragging a little bit here, Dale, on the spacing that, and we, you've got a reference here as the BCB way. I couldn't agree more with you.
I mean, we're coming up to a stoplight and everything. We're making a great stop, a controlled stop and everything. And watch when this driver gets stopped there. Look, we can see concrete. We have plenty of space there. We're not creeping up on this car. Just a wonderful job because, I mean, so many times we see drivers creep up on the back of that car, and the car looks in this mirror, and all he sees is the grill of a great big truck and makes him a little bit nervous. So just a great job by the driver here. Controlled stop, leaving that space. If that car stalls out right now, Rick, the vehicle can get around him either way because he's left himself space without having to back up.
Great video, and it's not the only one we have. We have another space one right here, a little bit of space management going on.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're watching a car ahead of us going to make a right-hand turn, and this driver is just practicing patience. He's already slowing down, braking, and making sure that vehicle making that right-hand turn completes the turn before he tries getting past that intersection. You know, he lost a couple of seconds by slowing down. But I mean, you know what? He did the right thing, the safest thing out there, making sure that the car had room to clear the intersection or turn and not change his mind at the last second, as we've seen before, and go past her. So just another great job. Love showing these type of videos.
No, this is a great one, especially after that video we saw last week in which we went around it, right? We saw the same kind of video here. The driver gets in the left lane, passes on the double yellow line. And Dale, this is exactly what we got to do. The answer is to slow down, let that vehicle turn, because once again, if that vehicle decides to turn left or decides to keep going straight, and we've gone into that other lane, the oncoming lane, we're creating a problem. So great job in just slowing down. Great job in keeping that space between you, the vehicle in front of you, just letting them turn and giving up that second and a half, 2 seconds.
Yeah, and the patience, and you think about it, you're so much more relaxed because now you're not in a rush. You're not, you're not pushing yourself out there. So
Great
your
video.
day goes a little bit better.
I can't help but think we made a difference in somebody's life. Somebody made the right decision here. Dale, we see it all the time. They just want to sometimes get in that left lane so they don't have to slow down. Here, we slowed down first. Dale, we got another one here. A crazy four-wheeler, I have a feeling, trying to make a quick lane change. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, watching this, and we see this, I mean, every day. We watch this one that's a LTD or whatever, goes right across, right to the exit. I mean, 2 or 3 lanes. There is no way in the world that car saw what's in that right-hand lane before he hit to that exit. Just no way in the world. And so just so unsafe. And the driver, as soon as recognizes what's going on, is on the brakes in this one and slows down a little bit. Just look at that.
I'm not even sure they put their indicator on either, right? I mean, and they have no idea what's in this right-hand lane.
No.
And this is the part that we talk about. This is the part that drives me crazy, because if the car right here goes in front here, hits somebody else, hey, guess what?
Yep.
There's a great chance we're involved in an accident. And it's not our fault, yet we're involved in it. And then all of a sudden, here we go, the delays, everything. Nothing you did wrong. Nothing at all. Look out for these morons on the road, because this is a moronic move. There's nothing you can say about it. Boy, it just has to make you tense out there as a driver.
Yeah, I mean, just with that. But we talk about, Rick, how many times do we talk about lane changes and making sure we own that lane before we do multiple ones? Yeah. And again, of course, that vehicle there, the car doesn't do it. And by not doing it, he has no idea what's coming up along that right lane. And so it's just so important. Driver in this one's doing, that took this video, is doing a lot of right things. Like I said, as soon as he recognizes it's happening, he's slowing down. I don't even think he knew that car was going to go all the way over to that exit. But good job here. And like I said, you guys, we show these videos so we can learn from them, so we see what happens. And so, if it happens to you, we have some of that mindset going on what
I don't even know what you do on that. I mean, as soon as that happens, you got to put your brakes on, because, is this car, and then let me go back up for a second. This is why we must all have forward-facing cameras at minimum. Outward-facing cameras, seeing what's going on. Otherwise, if this vehicle does this, puts the brakes on, he goes to his attorneys and says, hey, you know what, they rear-ended me.
Yep.
That big truck rear-ended me, weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. I was doing they just came on me and hit me, and you don't see any of that. You're waiting on you're hoping to God somebody else stops and maybe gives you a witness. Your witness is your camera.
Yep.
Your witness, your forward-facing camera, they have got to be working. Are you driving right now with the forward-facing camera that's not working? Have you done it? Maybe you did it yourself, be saying, I don't want those guys to look at what I'm doing. I don't need their help. Yes, you do, because you don't know what's going on out there in these roadways. You don't know what's in the mindset of these four-wheelers as they cut you off. You must have this technology, folks. You have to have these forward-facing cameras. You've got to have this to protect you, the driver, the commercial, the king and queen of these highways.
And I would just so love to know what else is going on in this four-wheeler's driver's mind. Is he on the phone? Is he not paying attention? Is he trying to text? I would love to know, because that's just not a good decision on any level.
And Dale, so I played this video a little earlier today. We're going to show it again here, because, again, here we go. The video we're watching right now, if the guy gets in front of you, pushes on the brakes, you hit him, I'm telling you, you don't have a camera, we have to try to prove this out. This becomes difficult to do. Look at this one right here.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the whole story is. It's just an interesting one because, like I said, you see four-wheelers do so many crazy things day after day. And here's another one, passes, then, brake checks us right away. As the truck tries to change lanes to get away from him or around him, changes lanes in front of him. You just got to back off from it. Just, slow the chaos down, let him get away from it because something's going on in his mind at least. That you've done something wrong, that you've wronged them, and so just get away from it. Don't get involved in it because, like I said, I think I heard you say, Rick, there's so many times they're trying to get hit. They're trying to provoke you into doing something, and so, get that lawyer. And
the other part is we see this all the time now, unfortunately. We don't know what's in the mindset of the driver in front of us. Maybe you did nothing to him. Maybe 3 weeks ago a big truck was involved and hurt a friend of his or hers. Maybe they just got terminated from their job. Their mindset's not right, and they're doing this thing right here to try to get at you. To try to maybe to let you hit them. Yep. But maybe you did something to them, and now they're getting back at you. But you know what? Do they have a gun? That's what I think. I really do go to worst case because it's not that crazy anymore. We see it all the time. Do they have a gun, and is it worth this right here? And that's when I say, Dale, you just back off. It looks like we backed off right here. Yep. Hey, let them go. Slow it down. They're not going to want to go 55. Slow it down. Take that next exit.
Yeah, and you're so right on what their mindset is and guns anymore, and just to pick that fight to escalate it, you just got to get away from it. So
we got another one here. It looks like a quick lane change, perhaps, and this is on the vehicle in front of us. And here we go, Dale.
Yeah, I mean, this one came up because, like I said, the driver in this one that took the video is doing the right thing. Instead of trying to go around this turning vehicle like the dump truck does, slows it ways down, stays in his lane, doesn't do that quick lane change, doesn't have to worry about if there's somebody in their blind spot if they don't do the lane change. So kudos to this driver, just, slowing it down a little bit, relaxing, letting the vehicle make that left-hand turn, maintaining his lane so we don't have that quick lane change or any lane change, and gets there, maybe 5 seconds longer, Rick. It just, and probably feels a whole lot better, a lot less stress in his life right now.
Yeah, and by maintaining your lane, by slowing down and doing what you did, look, you're not getting in. Here you see the lights come right now, the white pickup truck passing us in that center lane. You're not making him or her in that other truck now make a different kind of decision too. You've done the right thing. You maintained your lane. You reduced your speed. You know what? Great job on this and slowing down. Speed and space. I'm going to tell you once again, that is so critical to about everything we do. Dale, speed and space. I just can't go over how critical that is.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. It is the root of all of it. I mean, you just have to have that space, have to have that right speed. When they start taking it away, you have to reduce your speed and let that space build up, build it back. Own the lane in front of you. That's the key.
Amen, sir. I like what you're saying. Hey, Dale, let's get out of here with a quick prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this day you've given us. We saw some great videos there, and I just hope, Lord, that as we continue to do this show, that we are making the difference in the lives of others and how they drive and the habits they make. Lord, we just ask that you give us a little bit of help. You increase our audience so we can talk to more and more people. You give us that ability to reach them in their heart and their soul, and just to first and foremost allow them to recognize when they're being unsafe and put that distraction away for a second, put it away for a minute, let it go. Whatever we can do, we're going to help them. Lord, we need your help. Grow our audience and grow the courage of our drivers to have that courage to act upon the thing that they know that's in their mind. When they recognize that they're being unsafe, help them put that phone down. Help them put that distraction away. Help them have that courage to get off the road and communicate to their company that, you know what, I can't drive right now. I'm going to be late. Something's going on. I've had to get off the road. Help us, Lord, at all with everything we do. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow morning. We have another good show tomorrow. I believe we even have our interview. We'll surprise you tomorrow with who that is. Hey, but this is BCB Live.
We're safest station in the nation.
I like it. We're gonna close it out with a little bit of Music Man Mike because that's what he likes. He always likes to have his thing. end the show, and we'll just see if we can do it here. One more time. Music Man Mike, take it away.